Here's last Sunday's message in 2 minutes-ish. So last Sunday, we talked about Zoe life. The Bible actually has a few different words in Greek in the New Testament that are translated as life, whereas in the English language, we just have life. They have Zoe, they have Suke, and they have Biotikos. Biotikos is just your existence. Suke is like your vitality, or like, being alive, I guess. And then Zoe is like the Christ life, the abundant life of God that's in us as believers. When Nicodemus comes to Jesus, he notes that there's something different about him. And he says, it's obvious that God is with you. He sees that Jesus' life is different. And he asks him about it. And Jesus responds, telling him he has to be born again. Jesus actually goes on to say that whatever is born of the flesh is of flesh, and whatever is born of the spirit is of spirit. And so we know when we're born again, we transfer from our old life to our new life. But what we don't often think about is what that actually entails, because we are actually taken out of our natural life and we're placed into this Zoe life, this supernatural, abundant life of God that is in us. As believers, we're not waiting to receive eternal life until we get into heaven and reap our inheritance that Christ has gone before us for. We actually get his life in us now. And so everything that we do, we can choose whether we do it from our natural life or whether we do it from the God life, the abundant life, the Christ life in us, this Zoe life. And I want to encourage you, if you're a believer, go back, look at the full message, or do some research on Zoe, but understand what it means to live by the Christ life. We can have the wisdom of God, not the wisdom of man. We can live by the provision of God, not the provision of man. There are things that Jesus said when he was like, don't worry about what you're going to eat or drink or what you're going to wear. That's part of the natural life. Your Father in heaven will provide for you and take care of you because he loves you. That's the Christ life. Anytime that Jesus was like, that's what the world thinks, but you are called to something else, he was saying, move from your natural life and into the Christ life. And I encourage you as a believer, we don't have to live this life by our own resources. We don't have to live this own life by our own understanding, by our own reason, by our own logic. We have been given the resources of heaven. We have been given the life of Christ in us. And when we surrender ourselves, this is what Paul was talking about when he said, I die daily, or what Jesus was talking about when he said, take up your cross daily and follow him, is we are putting to death our natural self. We're choosing not to live by our old self that has only the resources of this world. And we're choosing to live by the Christ life in us, allowing Jesus to live his life through us. And sometimes we're afraid to surrender because we think that's such a loss of control, and it is. But what we don't understand is that the Christ life in us is so much greater, so much better. It brings joy, and it brings peace, and it brings all the things that we really want in this life and strive so hard to achieve and oftentimes can't get. He gives that to us in abundance. So I encourage you, live by the Christ life, the life of God that's in you as a believer, and put aside the old life, the natural life, and embrace Zoe life. Yeah, that's it. All right. Bye.